Hey guys, it's South African Chris here from New Zealand, and today is the 14th of December, Monday, so we're back to trading today. I've got some exciting stuff to share with you. I did do a session on Friday afternoon for today, but there's been a couple of developments in the meantime and some very cool updates to my stock market investor app called Market Investor Pro. So it's not a brokerage app, it's something I developed myself. I'm a software developer among other things, and I needed something to help me with my strategy, which is day trading and kind of swing trading. And the way that I work is I use technical indicators to help me make trade decisions, and I don't rely on fundamentals necessarily, although they do play a part in decision making, I guess. But I've been developing this over a period of time and just developing my strategy and trying to implement that into the software to keep a watch list and give me some information on stocks, but also to build a portfolio. And you'll see if I switch here to November's portfolio that I've had a very good month, lots of trades and good profit made. And if we look at December, not so great. As you all know, last week was a bit terrible in the stock market. Lots of stocks going down a little bit. Doesn't mean it's crashing, it just means there's a little bit of a, I guess, normalization of stocks and some sell-off for profits. Hoping this week will snap back a little bit again, especially with hopes on the COVID vaccine in the US. So without further ado, let me talk to you about what I've done. So first of all, you'll notice that the watch list items highlighted in blue is the ones that's actually now in my portfolio. It just makes it easier for me to know which ones I can remove and which ones I can't remove. Previously, I did have a dialog box that will tell you it's in the portfolio. Do you really want to remove it? You'd say yes, but I'd like to immediately see which ones are active looking at my watch list. I can, of course, just go to my portfolio and select on any stock, and it will give me the same information about the post-market pricing. So I've built in a tool to check the market state. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I was very busy this weekend. So the first exciting thing is on the indicators. So if I click on the indicators, it now actually shows you some resistance and support levels. So opening up Tesla, you can see we've got some resistance and support levels. It will also give us some detected patterns. So you'll see on the 11th, which is here, Friday, it picked up a double top pattern. It says that it's bearish, and it gives you some estimates based on that. It doesn't mean you should use these purely to trade on. These are indicators, right? And it'll pick up some previous patterns in the past as well. In addition to that, it does a quick check on the MACDs and the stochastics and the RSI and ADX and all of that, and it will give you kind of a purely based on that information, it will give you a verdict on whether to buy, hold, or sell. And you'll see from time to time this updates, so there's a timer running in the background, and this will just update data as it changes. The signal says buy. The ADX value, which is an indicator, it's an important indicator, it ranges from 0 to 100. It tells us currently it's on 30.85 more or less, and it's saying it's a strong trend and that this is a trending stock. From the stochastics though, we can see it's not at a bottom yet. It's not there at the bottom where it dips, which means it's oversold. Good time to buy. And we usually want to sell when it's overbought, right? So it's not quite there yet. When it reaches this bottom line at the stochastics, then we will be in an oversold state for the stock, and that's usually the best time to buy. So we might see in this case that stock goes down a little bit, snapping a little bit back to this EMA 18 line that runs here at the top. Or we could see that the stock actually goes further up, as Tesla has been known to do. And what happens then over time is that this EMA will actually snap closer to this, the updated candles, or the change in the trend of the candles, rather than candles snapping back to the EMA. The MACD here, very bullish, very big gap between the blue and the red line, the red line representing the signal line. There's a crossover, but it's more than 5 trade days ago, a lot more, so it's all good. The average true range looks good, and the relative strength index is dipping just below the top level, but we can see that from the stochastics as well. So hoping that it goes back to this mid-level and then bounces back up again. So that is the additional information that I've added to the indicators. Now, This also gets recorded when you buy a new stock, which I did today just to test, but it's also a good stock to buy, and I'll talk about it in a second. But obviously when we go to portfolio, you don't view the current indicators. When you click on it now, you'll see the text change to historic indicators. It's showing us the information when that stock was bought. Okay, so it's telling us what the state was. It's a snapshot of what happened at that current moment when I bought the stock. And it'll do the same for other stocks. So if I click on Stitch Fix here, for instance, you'll see that Tesla's an open trade, so it only has the open trade data. But on Stitch Fix, I did a sale. It's a closed trade. So when I click on the historic indicators, it'll ask me, do I want to see the one from the 9th or the one from the 10th? Because the one is opening trade and the other one is a closing trade. You can select on any one. Back then, obviously, I didn't have my cool tools yet, so it will show me the snapshot of my technical indicators, but it will tell me there's no data for the trade patterns or the suggestions. And this is good because it helps us to build a portfolio and track our strategy, and we can see what worked and what did not work. Now, for this month, you'll see there's a lot of red dots. Red means loss, green means profit. Okay, now we've had good profit on Pfizer, $1,637, which was great. They've since gone up to $41.20 a share. I sold at, where did I sell at? $42, right? Not too bad. I think it was a safe bet. Bought at 36 and I got 295 of them, so good. It took me a whole 20 days waiting. Normally I don't like to wait that long, but anyway, it was good. On Nvidia we made some profit, but I was thinking that this was going to go down, which it did. You'll see it's at 520. I sold at 542, so got out just in time. There's another good trade here. Made $1,000 in 2 days with Appian. That was a good trade. The only thing with Appian was, that also tanked quite a bit. Yeah, so just great timing, I guess. And it means that the system is theoretically working, right? We win some, we lose some. It's the game I'm playing. But we see the losses as the cost of business, and we always set our loss or stop loss target at what we call 1R, right? An acceptable loss ratio. So that is 0.25 of my total available capital, and you'll see at the moment that equates to a value of about $273.87. The win ratio is 2R, 2 times R, as you can see there. So we've got 0.25 for loss and 0.5 for win. So we've got 2R for profit, which means if we have the equal amount of wins compared to losses, we still make a profit, right? But obviously we try to have more wins than losses. That's always good. And let's see how that goes. All right. So another cool thing that I've added here is it will actually give me target prices and stop loss prices now based on those settings that you saw there. So whenever I do a new trade, when I add a trade, or in fact, if I haven't done it with a trade, I can select an existing one where it wasn't added, and I can click on my TPSL, and it'll actually tell me the target price here should have been 555, right? And I sold at 542, and my stop loss would have been at 516. If it went anything below that, then we cut the losses and we run. All right, so that's just to kind of give you an idea of how that works. If we look at the next one, for instance, here we have a target price of 158.72, and we sold at 165, which is a bit more. So it's good, right? But it's also dangerous, you know, when you try to push that margin too far, when that win ratio of 2R that it's currently at on my situation becomes more than 3, then you're starting to really reduce your chances of winning, and being greedy in this game with this strategy doesn't work. So okay, enough of that. Let's talk about what happened. So you will see on the 11th I've closed Fleet Core, taking a $9.20 loss. It's fine. Today I closed this one, Coupa Software. We had a loss of $273. On Friday I closed Whirlpool, a loss. I closed Stitch Fix, which was a win, so 700, and oh sorry, that was on Thursday actually, so never mind that. I also closed here this MCK, McKesson Corporation, loss. Same story for Ulta Beauty, loss, and same story for Lululemon. So those were all losses, but because we set our stop loss, we're able to at least limit the risk. So I've lost about $1,000 give or take, in just Thursday and Friday's trades, but I'm still in the positive. I'm up $2,170 on closed trades. On open trades, I'm still in the negative here. I'm hoping today we see a bit of better news. But having said that, look at my video from Friday. I ran through a couple of stocks, but I wanted to add to that now that I've got this cool new features. There's one I haven't shown you yet, and this is my live data. Now, I said I don't trade on fundamentals, but sometimes viewing the live data after you've done the analysis, just helps, and you can use that as an additional indicator, if you will. So first of all, I've got a bell countdown here. I'm always awake since I'm in New Zealand. It's many hours ahead, so currently here it's 25 minutes to 7 on Monday, the 14th of December in the afternoon, in the PM. And you'll see on the stock exchange time currently is just past midnight. Okay, so by the time the stock market opens in 8 hours from now, it'll be quite late here. So I do my homework and my research and my everything during the day, and when the bell rings, then I've got my trades already set up with all my target profits and my stop losses and everything, and we just push it in, and hopefully then I can go to sleep. Although sometimes I do like to watch what's going on. So first, you'll see that I've got some fundamental news here, and you can select from a drop down what you would like to see from which date, and you'll see there is a headline, and it renews every minute. There's a headline, and then there is some just a summary of text, and you can click on the link to actually go to the original document and see what it's about. And this scrapes data from various sources, so there's quite a lot of it, right? So that's the first one. The second one that I've added here is just general market news. So this is not related to the stock necessarily. This is just live news. So it talks about Pfizer and Moderna, blah blah blah. And then if we scroll down here, you'll see that I've got, sorry, here we go. This is the current market news. This one was the targeted news. So company news, and this one is general market news. The stock could sell at all-time highs before year end, blah, blah, blah. If we click on that, we can view what it's all about. So let's expand that. So this says, oh, I broke this thing. Oops. Okay, I need to fix my stretchy gig there. Anyway, so that's the market news, but the most important is here at the bottom. So I've put in these cool buttons so that I can minimize this stuff and it's easier to see. But you'll see I've got some indicators here, some additional indicators that'll tell you based on technical and market analysis, what is the general consensus or recommendation on the stock. So currently on Pfizer, we've got strong buy, there's 2, buy 13, hold 10. So if you've got hold, sell 0, and strong sell only 1. So that kind of nudges us into the direction of buying. There is a sentiment, so it tells you that the sector that this belongs to, the healthcare sector. Remember previously, I in my previous videos I mentioned on Sector Spider and finviz.com how to look at the sector and industry trends, because usually a stock belonging to that industry or sector will, the chances are 75% they'll follow on the same trends. Health sector currently doing really well, obviously. Right, so also here we've got the sentiment, right? So the sentiment will tell you what the sector average bullish or bearish percent is. So it's more or less 60%, which is quite bullish. The sector news score, it's a kind of a score and a sentiment that it calculates based on good or bad news. And you'll see that it's 51% for the sector. For the symbol, it's 58%. So it's overperforming or outperforming the sector, and its bullish percent compared to the 59 is actually 69, right? So it's and there's no bearish percent, so it's all bullish. The target that that is calculated here comes from some online data from various sources that I kind of compile, and this just again gives you an indicator. So they say the high at 53, we're currently at 41, a low at 36, and a mean at 41.95. We're currently at 41.12. So and then a median value at 42. So that gives you an indication of where people's heads are at. And this is again just an additional indicator, really. So you should really rely on the technical indicators using this strategy. And when I say you, I mean me, and I do, but I just use these additional this additional information as additional indicators, really. Okay, so Infi Corporation, we can see here that it's got a strong buy and a buy of 11, so it's all indicating to buy, and we've got Infi at the moment. So let's look at the ones that we don't have. Renewable energy. Right, this is one that I really like. If we look at the news, there's no news from the 9th, but if we go further back, there would be some. And I'm going to just click on this to pause so it doesn't renew when I don't want it to. If we look at the indicators here, the sentiment, the general sentiment, we'll see that it is in favor of buying. It's bullish. It's trending, it's doing well, and it's saying a high of 79 and a low of 65. A low of 65, it's currently on 62, right? So I think this already indicates to us something good could be in the pipeline. Now let's look at the technical indicators, the stuff we actually rely on. Now, here you can see the resistance at the top, so we're quite a bit from that. We've had a very, very bullish and productive Friday on the stock. The stochastics at the top is not at the bottom, so usually I'll buy when it's at the bottom, okay? And we still got a bit of a bearish momentum happening here on the MACD, and on the ATR it's looking pretty positive. It's just updating data, as I mentioned, every minute. And then on the RSI we can see that it's bouncing up from that mid-level, which means it's doing really well. No current patterns. The last one was on the 30th of November, so we're not going to concern ourselves about that. But on the indicator suggestions, we see again strong push for buy. This ADX indicator is an important indicator, and it tells you whether it's a very strong trending stock or not. It's not. It's absent or a weak trend at this moment, so it doesn't make it a bad thing. It just kind of gives you some more insight into what we're doing. Now, if we look at Discovery, so I'm gonna just click on that, and I'm gonna go to the indicators. Also, everything looking very positive. We are a little bit above that EMA, which is not always good because sometimes that could snap back. No current patterns, but on the indicator suggestions we see strong indication to buy, very strong actually. And then the ADX indicates a strong trend, so this is a trending stock. The stochastics is not at the bottom, but we can see that it's actually jumping back up to the top, indicating very bullish on the MACD and on the RSI. So these are two good stocks. I will go into both of them. So let me jump into it and do it, and not just say I'm going to do it. So I'm going to click on trade. I'm going to get the current aftermarket price. It's still the same, and we're going to buy this one. Right, so that's what I'm doing. Add the new trade. Yes, and you'll see it gives me a target price and a stop loss already. Okay, and the same for Discovery. So we want to go into this one. I'm going to select it, go to add trade. We get the current market price, $29, and we record this trade. The position sizing happens automatically, of course. It shows a negative there. It's just because what I should do is I should run current price. This shows you the last close price, right? But when we buy, we assume that we buy at the current price. Remember, this doesn't actually purchase the stock. I have to go to my broker software. I'm using Tiger Trade, which I'll talk about on another session. But I use Tiger Trade to then actually do the trades, but I use this as my research and planning, my strategy planning platform. Okay, BlackRock. Let's have a quick look at this one. So they've been 0.33% down at the post market. I've also added some cool arrows to indicate whether it's up or down. Okay, we can see resistance quite above where we are currently. We're currently on 695, and that resistance is sitting there at $718 more or less. So that means there's quite some room for improvement. No current patterns on the indicator suggestions, indicating it's kind of neutral. It's a strong trend, this one. It's on the EMA with the candles. It's at the bottom with the stochastics. It's a bullish MACD, but it's doing duck face. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I talk about duck face, and that means this blue line seems that it's going to intersect with the red line if we project those forward, which is not good. Everything else looks okay. There's a bit of a downtrend on the RSI, but as we can see here, it's for the past 2 months, it's been way above that, so we expect that will jump up again. So it means I might not buy the stock today, but I'm definitely going to watch it and keep it in my watch list, BlackRock, because we might see some interesting action after today. Hopefully it's not too late. All right, ADS. So let's look at ADS indicators. Yep, on the EMA, far away from the resistance, although there's another resistance line, or look like, yeah, a resistance line here. We hope it doesn't snap back to that and it breaks above that again. On the 10th, which was Thursday, we see that it's had a flag pattern, which is bullish. and it's telling us target price here of 87 and a loss of 72, and we've currently got 72, and it's saying that the stop loss should be at 72.566. That was on the previous day, it was at 74.8. The next day it's at 72.66. That means it's still valid. It means that we should buy and set a target at 87 according to this analysis, but we're not going to do that quite yet. What we're going to look at is the signal. We see 10 for selling, 5 for buying, 5 for neutral, so it's saying that it doesn't really have a strong indication whether we should buy or not. The ADX is very strong, or strong, not very strong, it's strong, and it's a trending stock. I'm going to trade this one, but I'm going to do something that I don't always do, but recently I've been doing it, is let's get the current price. And you'll see it tells me I need 154 stocks there. And the way this works is it takes my total capital, my acceptable losses, my acceptable profits, acceptable losses in it. It will then also look at how much do I spend per trade. So I've set it up to about 10%, so I can take my capital and take 10% for that per trade. But I'm going to halve that. So what would that be? 75, 76, 77. So let's make that 77. And let's record that trade, so we place it over there. Add trade new recording, yes please. So there we go, we've gotten 50% instead of 100%. Not 100%, what I mean is like we've gone in half of what I normally would have. Okay, you'll see the default invest value here I've set to 10, and that's a percentage value. So 10% of whatever I've got up there is what we will spend, and you'll see there's about $11,000. Okay, so AMD. Alright, AMD is looking good. I'm a little bit scared of tech this week based on what happened last week. I think health and energy sectors are looking quite good. But anyway, we see here long ago a pattern it's not valid anymore. It's not trending. It's not really telling us to buy or sell. It's neutral. We had this doji candle here. It is at the bottom and it looks like an upturn, but there's definitely a duck face happening on the MACD. I'm going to keep it there. I don't want to trade that one. AMP, let's have a quick look. So on AMP, we've got not too bad on the candles. At the bottom of stock D, looks good. A little bit of a potential intersection in the not so distant future, but for now it doesn't look too bad. It says buy. The ADX is not super strong. Below 25, by the way, is where it will say absent or weak trend. 25 to 50 will say strong. Above 50 will say very strong. Above 75 is like amazingly strong. On this one, same. Let's go in half. I'm going to add a trade here. We get the current market price. We've got 58 there. So we'll make this one here. What is that? 29, right? Something like that. So let's go record that one. Yes. Okay, and let's go back. So we've got Arcturus Therapeutics Holdings. Alright, let's look at that. Indicators. Wow, it's all over the show here. Lots of different resistance and support levels. We can see that we're quite a bit above the EMA. The stochastics at the bottom, very bullish. Everything looking very, very bullish. A little bit of a downturn there on the ATR, which means just the difference in pricing per day. What that range is. ADX looking strong. Signal saying buy. I'm going to buy this one again at 50% because I'm not 100% convinced on this one. So let's do that. So we'll just go there in at 52. Okay, let's record that one, and yes please. Okay, so that's quite a lot for today. I've added a few other ones here. Pershing Square Tontine Holdings, whatever, PSTH. Okay, I got this from, I didn't have even enough data to calculate my technical data on this one. I got this from someone else. I'll post a link down below. In his videos, he does great videos on top stocks. Also, not top stocks, he calls it something else, but he talks about stocks about 2 or 3 times a week. And he was talking about upcoming stocks that could potentially increase in balloon and value quite a lot, and these were the 3. So it was PSTH, CIIC, and SPLK. So I'm going to be looking at these ones also and getting in on those trades. But first I'll do a bit of research. Okay, well, that's it from me, guys. Remember, always do research. If you like my app and you want to use it, it's still in the development phase, kind of, but I'm happy to share it. So drop me a message or something, and I'll share it with you. If you like the video, please hit like, subscribe, do all the stuff, share with your friends. It'll be great if I can build a bit of a bigger user base rather than the 4 or 5 frequenters. Although I do appreciate you very much. Thank you and have a great day. Trade safe. All the best. Be responsible. Bye.